born about 5 months ago, so I'm very excited to have him here. A little bit closer to us, we got this light brown antelope here. This is a greater kudu. You notice they have these white stripes on their back to help them better blend in the thick foliage of the forest, make it easier for them to hide from predators. Now, when Western colonizers first arrived in Africa, they thought the okapi was a mythical creature, and the locals had just made up. It wasn't until 1901 we got our first documented sighting of an okapi by the Western world. Speaking of animals that are definitely real, in addition to some more of the greater kudus, we also got a couple of bongos here on the right as well, with reddish brown antelopes. Like the greater kudus, they also have those white stripes on their back. Of course, unlike the greater kudus, they're also sporting some pretty impressive horns. Those horns are angled in such a way to make it easier for them to navigate through the thick brush. That way they can make a quick hit if they need to. Speaking of horns, over here on the left, it looks like a black rhino taking a little nap there by the cliff edge. Now, black rhinos, they are the smaller of the two African rhino species. And like you see back there, they are solitary animals. So they're going to spend pretty much their entire lives just sort of hanging out by themselves. Now, finish it up with one last greater kudu fact. I was talking about bongos sporting some pretty impressive horns. Of course, greater kudus did not have horns. Or at least those greater kudus did not have horns. That's because greater kudus are one of the very few antelope species in which the females do not have horns. So all that back there were indeed female. As we come up to the other side of this hill, we're going to be leaving the cherry forest and coming up to the Sambi River. Now, Sambi is another Swahili word. It means clear, and I'm sure this river was clear at some point. Now, look over on the right, so I've got a pair of hippos down there in the water. I'll talk more about the hippos in just a moment, but I do want to mention these big gray birds here as well. Those are called peak-backed pelicans. Yes, I did say that the gray birds were called peak-backed. They get their name because during mating season, they will turn a lovely shade of pink, and we'll use that to help them find mates. Now, once they do find a mate, they'll usually form very large colonies of anywhere from 40 up to 1,000 birds all hanging out together. Now, if you missed the hippos on the right, we got a few more here on the left as well. The hippos are what we call semi-aquatic mammals, meaning they're going to spend most, but not all of their time underwater, kind of like the ones you see so far. In fact, the hippo's closest living relative, believe it or not, is the whale. Now, we know they're related to whales because they both have very similar bone structures, and the hippo's nostrils actually function very similar to a whale's blowhole. They're able to shut completely with hippos underwater, and then open back up when they come up from air, which they only need to do about once every 8 minutes or so. Now, you think with all that time they spend underwater, the hippos will be pretty good swimmers. Actually, they can't swim. All that time they're underwater, they're either floating on the surface or walking around on the bottom of the riverbed. Some animals that definitely can swim, though, would be the Nile crocodiles that we see down on the left. Crocodiles, they are the largest species of crocodile in the world. Make sure everybody is fully seated. Everybody does have to be fully and completely seated before we go across the bridge. Every single human being, even the smallest ones, need to be fully and completely seated. If they are standing on your lap, that is not seated. Yeah, they are the largest species of crocodile in the world. They can get up to about 16 to 20 feet long, about 5.5 to 6 meters. It's about as long as a giraffe is tall. Crocodiles, they are ambush predators, meaning they're going to lie completely motionless, sometimes for hours at a time, just waiting for an unsuspecting snack to drop by. And the way to tell the difference between a crocodile and an alligator, crocodiles have V-shaped jaws, whereas alligators have U-shaped jaws. Most of the crocodiles have their mouth closed, you can still see some of their teeth sticking out, whereas alligators have all their teeth hidden. Coming up on the right-hand side, this funky-looking tree here is called a baobab tree. It's known as an upside-down tree. Its branches look a little bit like roots. It's like somebody put the tree in upside down. Now, baobab trees are going to go leafless for about 9 months out of the year as a way to conserve water. But a lot of animals know that, so they treat the baobab kind of like a giant water fountain, which does lead to its other nickname, Tree of Life. But here in Harambe, seeing that baobab tree means we are coming up to the savannah. Now, the savannah is the largest area here on the reserve, home to many free-roaming animals. So make sure to have those cameras out and ready. Also make sure to hold it nice and tight. If you drop here, guess what? I cannot stop the truck to go and get it. Now, a lot of people underestimate just how big the Savannah truly is.